Welcome back to Dat Build. Today I am doing a bit more work on the Beetle, and of course, if you have a look right here, you'll have very quickly guessed exactly what it is I'm doing. To be perfectly honest, I've just finished on the driver's side, and oh man, I've read up on doing this just so I knew what I was in for. Not every car is the same, and of course this one is no different. A couple of tools here and there which were stated to be the correct tools online, completely wrong. And so I've more or less had to wing it. I could have simply reset and done this again next week. To be honest, I really wanted to get these on. I hated those rear shock absorbers. I could have just stuck with just doing those, but in for a penny, in for a pound, I decided to change the entire lot. So what I have done is more or less done the right-hand side, reasonably happy with it. I've got to change something on the rear end. The car seems to be level at the moment. That's only because when I put the car back down, I had to get some chunks of timber to prop it up. And yeah, there's two there. So that gives you a bit of an idea of the drop that I've actually made for this ride now. The idea was originally to do an structural DIY. I am not doing that now, and it is because that do as I say, not as I do, because honestly I'm going to be janking a few of these steps. Again, wrong tools recommended. It's my fault. I should have really looked into it beforehand properly, like on the car, as just reading it up online. As I say, never ever trust everything you read online. It's anyway, so I have done this side, happy with this, got to adjust that a bit further, but as we can see here, old, new, rear, and we have that sitting on there like so. I don't know if that's in shot, but as we can see, it does give about the same sort of height until it's compressed. I doubt this is even showing up on camera, all the way away. Off we go. But new rubbers was the key thing here, so new rubbers, bearings, bushes, all that sort of thing. They say it's still rolling to this day. But yeah, I replaced pretty much all the vital components, all new rubbers, all new bushes, all that sort of thing. Did notice a few more things I need to change along the way. The drop links will need to be changed. They're starting to fray and crack a bit. The tie rods didn't look too bad, but I will of course change them due course. The worst was the rotor on this side. There's supposed to be a bolt which secures the rotor hub, well, the brake, the disc itself, to the actual main component, missing. So it's free spinning and floating. So that's really not great for a couple of reasons, as I'm sure you can well imagine. That'll have to be addressed as well. But brakes is a little bit further down the road for now. It does stop and start. Maybe I haven't screwed things up too much further, but I doubt it's any worse than it was before. So enough jabbering from me. I have removed the front scuttle. As before, it's a couple little flathead removals and then 13mm bolts. They should be the same. Well, sockets anyway. That comes off. It is more secure this time around. There's a seam around here which I did push it back into, so popping that back in. Anyway, I'm going to crack on with the passenger side now. I will do a bit of filming of that. It is going to be a jank episode, so I do apologise. I hate doing it this way. At the same time, I'm confident that it's not going to screw anything. It's just not the right way to do it. So yeah, pressing on. So I pretty much dropped the car right on its belly. That was actually the lowest setting for the coilovers. And of course, I thought it was quite funny just to start there, progress my way up, never really having had a car sit that low. As you can see, there are a few issues with running it just off the bat, is that the drive shafts were more or less rubbing on the body. And of course, along with that sway bar, the angle of the boots and everything like that was quite severe, along with the tie rods. Are at quite an extreme angle as well, and I do believe in some situations could have potentially caused binding. Beyond that though, it was more or less just the fact that I simply put it on there as it came off. And of course, reading a few people anyway, they actually can, or you can anyway, swap the tie rods to be on the bottom side so that you get a bit more of a flat linear line. The trouble is though, if you want to run that low without any real fouling as such, adjustable drop links, but some people even go about simply removing the sway bar altogether, which I'm not really a fan of, not for what I want to do with the car anyway. Beyond that too, they even notch the frame rails, which again, not really going to do, not a fan of. For me, it was just for the lols. I just wanted to have the car sit that low for a time, just because I was never going to keep it at that height. So for me, I will be Pepsi canning the height, so my foot just fit underneath. This is going to be the base height, more or less, in most situations. Probably, maybe some small parts it will be slightly lower, but for the most part, it'll clear a Coke can quite easily. So that, of course, will be coming up. So, why am I not presently standing right next to the car, and why am I now in my shed? And with that being said too, about nearly a week after I've actually done this. Well, unfortunately, I pretty much dug my own hole in this one, because as I stated right at the very beginning, I was in a rush and I cut a few corners that I'm really not proud about. Beyond that, it wasn't so much of an issue until it became an issue. And of course, where it was the following day upon driving it. I'm not going to go too much into this just yet. This is going to be for the following episode, where I basically go over exactly what happened. But suffice to say, I am none too happy with myself, and unfortunately the car did cop a bit of damage because of this. Luckily, it was a very small amount of damage. No one was injured, which, to be honest, is the thing I'm most grateful for. Sometimes you kind of fob it off, say, you know, my car, but I really royally screwed up on one particular thing that is quite visible within this video. A number of things that I did cut out and you didn't see. I did use all the tools most of the time. Again, I'll go over this next week. I don't want to make this video any longer than it is. And plus, I really want to show you basically the consequence of rushing a job, because that's exactly what I did, and I am now suffering the consequences of it. Luckily, nothing legal, but it's mental and stressful, to say the least. It's something I'll never forget, and yeah, more of that to come. It's for next week. So I enjoyed the car for a small amount of time as it was. I will enjoy the car again. It's not written off. It's not in any major distraught damage. It's simply just something that I really, really stupidly did. So that's going to do it again today, guys. I really would have liked to have finished this on a high note. I was looking forward to this from the day these parts arrived, but simply due to stupidity, rushing a job, feeling tired and pushing myself. I was actually a little worn out that day. My arm has still copped a beating from the actual work, not from the damage or anything like that. But yeah, I more or less, that's another time. So I won't drag it out anymore. But yeah, you'll see a bit of a giveaway in the teaser on Wednesday, and you'll definitely see next week and hear about too. So one thing I will emphasize beforehand is that don't rush a job. Always take your time, double check absolutely everything, don't cut corners, and when you think you've done everything correctly, One day I'll shut that phone up. And when you do think you've done everything correctly, just check one more time for the most vital of all things. So anyway, guys, thank you very much for joining me. I'm not going to do the standard run on this one because I just don't feel it's worthy. But anyway, stay safe and I'll see you again next time. Cheers.